Hello everyone. In the previous video we had discussed about the difference between the double salt and the coordination compound. To continue with it, let's again discuss about the double salt and the coordination compound. I'll elaborate to the more extent. For example, if we have suppose we have Mohr's salt, right? That is FeSO4 dot NH4 whole twice SO4 dot 6H2O, right? It is in the solid state. This is a double salt. It's in the solid state. In the solid state, all these salts they combine. These two simple salts they combine and form Mohr salt. But when you dissolve it in water, it dissociates into its respective ions: Fe2 positive, NH4 positive, plus SO4 2 negative, and water. All these ions they will get ionized. The double salt will lose its identity. Mohr salt was the combination of this, so when it dissociates into the respective ions, it loses its identity. On the other hand, if we have a coordination compound, suppose we take similar to it, suppose we take K4 FeCN whole 6. It in the solid, so it's a coordination compound. In the solid state it exists as this, but when it is dissolved in water, see how it dissociates. It dissociates into 4K positive plus FeCN6 whole 4 negative. You getting my point? Here the species which are enclosed in the these square brackets, they do not dissociate into their respective ions, whereas in the double salt all the ions dissociate, right? If we have a double salt, it will give the test of Fe2 positive, like मतलब कोई और reaction Fe2 positive ਨੂੰ detect करने वाली, it will give that reaction positive. But this will not give any test of Fe2 positive because Fe is not dissociated. It remains in the coordination complex. So this is the main difference. They retain their identity. Coordination compounds, they retain their identity, whereas the double salts, they do not, they lose their identity. Here the ions, they show complete dissociation. This in the coordination compound, that does not completely dissociate. Now in the next now we have to talk about the some important terms that are used in the coordination chemistry. So this will make the concept more clear. First we'll talk about the ligands. There is a word ligands, and to it simultaneously we'll discuss about the central metal atom or ion. Ligands and the central metal atom or the ion. So we will talk about first, suppose we have a coordination compound. We'll start like this. We have a coordination compound FeCN6 4 negative, right? Here Fe2 positive, it is the central metal atom ion, it is the central metal ion which is surrounded by 6 and this whole is enclosed in the square bracket. Here Cn negative, which donates the electron pair, to the central metal atom, to the central metal ion, is the ligand. So what is a ligand? the donor atoms, molecules or the anions which donate the pair of electrons to the metal atom or an ion and form a coordinate bond with it are called as the ligands. And the metal atom or the ion to which the ligands are attached that is called as the central metal atom or the ion. So if we have to write, we'll write the donor atoms, they may be donor atoms or full molecules or anions in particular, not the anions which donate a pair of electrons to the central metal atom or ion and form a coordinate bond with it. They are called as ligands, right? And so for example, here Cn negative because it has extra pair of electrons, water because oxygen has lone pair of electrons, NH3 it has lone pair of electrons, Cl negative because it has electron density. So all they act as a ligand. So what will be the central atom? The metal atom or ion to which these ligands are attached. There that is called as the central metal atom or ion. For example, in this case, Fe2 positive will act as the central metal ion. So all the ligands, they form a coordinate bond with the central metal ion. So if we look into this particular coordinate bond, how will this be formed? We have Fe2 positive, it has suppose an empty orbital, an empty d orbital, Cn negative, right? It has electron density, so this is donated to the empty orbital of Fe2 positive and a coordinate bond is formed. So from now we'll talk about the ligands. So I have given, so in the coordination chemistry, the most important terms we are going to discuss, out of which ligands and the metal ions are the prior ones, right? Now we have, if you can see, so we'll discuss about the another example. Suppose we have Cr H2O whole 6 3 positive. So it is very well that here Cr3 positive will act as the central metal ion and water that's acting as a ligand. So chromium 3 positive, chromium ion is surrounded by 6 ligands that are water, right? Now we talk about the another term which is used in the coordination chemistry, that is the second, we'll talk about it. So that's the coordination sphere or coordination intensity and counter ions. So we'll discuss about this, right? If you can clearly observe, what we have done is the central atom and the ligands. We have previously discussed the central atom and the ligands which are directly in direct contact, which are directly attached to it are enclosed in a square bracket and collectively termed as coordination sphere. So if you see, we have Cr H2O whole 6 3 positive. So how can this be observed? We have chromium 3 positive. It is surrounded by 6 water molecules. Sorry. Six water molecules enclosed. So this is to be enclosed in the square bracket. So pay attention. The metal ion, the coordination sphere. So the metal ion surrounded by the ligands through a coordinate bond is enclosed in a square bracket, and this whole is called as the coordination sphere. Means the sphere means the identity in which only the coordinate bond is formed, right? Now this square that is enclosed in the square bracket, right from this to this square bracket to this, and in the inside the square bracket there is the metal and the ligands. So this is the coordination sphere. Now if you see, this coordination sphere has some charge. So what we know, that the coordination sphere may be positively charged, may be negatively charged, or may be neutral. So if we talk about positive and negative, suppose we have a positively charged coordination sphere. This is a positively charged coordination sphere. If we talk about negatively charged, this is a negatively charged coordination sphere. And if we talk about neutral, suppose this is a neutral coordination sphere. Neutral coordination sphere has no charge on it, right? So we will keep it aside. Now let's come to positive and negative coordination sphere. What is the the ionizable groups to satisfy this charge? Suppose we have Cr H2O whole 6 3 positive. So to satisfy this charge, this 3 positive, this charge, some ionizable groups are written outside the square brackets, and are called as counter ions, right? So what is this? So Cr H2 whole 6 3 positive. To balance this, we will have Cl negative, right? 3 Cl negative. So how this will be represented? Cr H2O whole 6 Cl3. So to balance this 3 positive, 3 Cl negative are mentioned like this. So that means so if we represent from this square bracket to that square bracket, it is the coordination sphere. And this is what? These are the counter ions. Similar to this is the another example, K4 FeCN6, right? So what is this? From this to this, from this square bracket to this is the coordination sphere, and this is the counter ion. See, the counter ion has always to be charged. Coordination sphere can be positive, negative or neutral, but the counter ion is always charged. If the coordination sphere is negative, the counter ion will automatically be positive. If the coordination sphere is positive, the counter ion will always be negative. So you have observed that whenever you form a ionic compound, so these two will act as ions, this whole will act as a cationic species. This is what? A cationic species, whole, not alone. So this whole coordination sphere will act as the cationic species and this will act as the anion, and cation is always mentioned before the anion. So this is how a coordination compound is represented, right? Next we talk about, so now we will talk about the types of the ligands. What all ligands we have? Types of ligands. They may be simple ligands, they may be complex, right? So first we'll talk types of the ligands. First classification is based upon the complexity. Like some ligands may be simple ions, then they may be small molecules, they may be large molecules, then there may be macromolecules. So in these simple ions, we'll talk about which they must possess extra anions. Suppose we have Cn negative, that is the simple ions, F negative, simple ions. Small molecules means water, NH3 means neutral, but they have lone pair of electrons, right? Large molecules in which we have ethylene, diamine. So we'll discuss how it is. So NH2 lone pair, CH2 and NH2. So this is the large molecule. And if I talk about macromolecules, they may be proteins. So these are the different types of the ligands. Now we will talk about the types of ligands based upon their donor atoms. Types of ligands based upon donor atoms. Number of donor atoms, right? The donor atoms means, see, if you see when I'm talking about donor atom, see, water is a whole molecule, right? Here water is a ligand, but out of the ligand, which atom donates its electron density? Hydrogen cannot donate its electron density. Oxygen will donate its electron density. So from the water ligand, this oxygen will be the donor atom. Means the atom from the ligand which is responsible for the electron density donation, right? So that is called as the, so we'll talk about the number of donor atoms or coordinating or ligating groups in a ligand is called denticity, is called the denticity of ligand, right? For example, here it has one donor atom. If we talk about ethylene diamine that we had discussed previously, this, so it has, so here what all will act as the donor atom? Here nitro, this also and this also, they act as donor atoms. If we talk about NH3, here hydrogen does not donate its electron density, so here in NH3, N acts as the donor atom. So for this we have unidentate ligands. Based upon this, unidentate ligands, unidentate ligands means they have only the ligands which have only one donor atom in its molecule, which can form the coordinate bond, which can coordinate. Only one donor atom which can coordinate. For example, if we talk about unidentate ligands, for example, we have water, one donor atom, NH3 Cn negative. So they are the unidentate, F negative. So these are the unidentate ligands, right? Now we talk about next which is bidentate ligands. Bidentate ligands which have simple, it is obvious, which have two donor atoms. They contain two donor atoms. Example, first is the ethylene diamine, we have already discussed. Ethylene diamine, oxalate ion. Oxalate ion is C2O4 2 negative. This is the oxalate ion. So how these two donor atoms, suppose we have ethylene diamine, so these two donor atoms, if we talk about oxalate ion, so these are the donor atoms, right? So these bind to the metal through two donor atoms, right? Now this was about the bidentate ligands. So now let's see the example. Suppose we have C cobalt, En whole thrice 3 positive, right? En is the ethylene diamine. If I am talking about En, that is the ethylene diamine. How is it? Suppose we have cobalt, right? Here now how they are binding? 3En, how will they bind? NH2, CH2, CH2, NH2. So these, here it will form a coordinate bond, here it will form a coordinate bond. Next we have how is it forming? This N and this N will form a coordinate bond. This is how they are forming a coordinate bond. This is one molecule of ethylene diamine. So this is the one molecule of ethylene diamine. Through the one molecule they are forming a coordinate bond. Through the one molecule they are forming two coordinate bonds. From the one molecule they are forming two coordinate bonds. And this whole coordination sphere bears a positive charge. Now if you see here a ring like structure is formed. Can you see it? There is the ring like structure. These, when the two donor atoms of bidentate ligands are positioned in such a way that a 5 or 6 membered rings are formed. ठीक है, with the metal ion and are called as that the ring is called as the chelating ring and the ligands are called as the chelating ligands. The bidentate ligands which form rings around the metal ion, they are called as the chelating ligands. New term to you. The ring formed is called as, the ring is the chelate ring. The resulting complex, the whole complex that is formed, the resulting complex is called as metal chelate and the property is called as, property is the chelation. This is all. See, jede bidentate ligands hai which have two donor atoms. So when they form bond with the central metal ion, this ring 5-membered or 6-membered ring is formed. Now what happens is when they form a ring, that ring is called as the chelate ring. That ring is called as the chelate ring and the complex, whole complex is called as the metal chelate and the property is called as the chelation. Right, this is the whole concept of chelating ligands. Similar to this bidentate ligands, we have polydentate ligands. Next are the polydentate ligands. Polydentate ligands which have more than 2 donor atoms. They have more than 2 donor atoms. So these polydentate ligands may be tridentate, may be tetradentate, or may be hexadentate. They may be hexadentate. So it has 3 donor atoms, it has 4 donor atoms, and this hexadentate that has 6 donor atoms. So one of the example of a hexadentate which is very very important, hexadentate ligand is EDTA. It is a hexadentate ligand. So how this is EDTA means ethylene diamine tetraacetate. So it has so this is the donor atom. So I'll represent it with the red pen. This is the donor atom. This is the donor atom. This is the donor atom. This is. So you can count there are total 6 donor atoms. So it has denticity 6. Right. Now we talk about, this is the, so we have discussed about the unidentate ligands, we have talked about the bidentate ligands, chelating ligands, polydentate ligands. Now about, there is another very important ligands that we have to discuss. They are the ambidentate ligands. Very very important, ambidentate ligands. What are these ambidentate ligands? They are actually unidentate ligands. Unident, ambi, so you might have heard of amphoteric, amphoteric, amphibians, right? So that word means, amphibians means amphibian, amphoteric. Amphoteric means both it can react with acid and base. Amphibians means both they can live in the land also and on the water, in the water also. So am means both. So what both is in the ambidentate ligands? They are unidentate ligands containing more than one coordinating atoms, or more than one coordinating atoms, or you can say donor atoms. Donor atoms. So the unidentate ligands containing more than one coordinating atoms or the donor atoms, that is called as the ambidentate ligand. For example, we have Cn negative, right? If it can bind through both, it can even bind through C, whereas it can even bind through N. If it binds through Cn, so it is called as cyanide, and if it binds through N, it is called as isocyanide, right? So if we have SCN, it can bind through S also, whereas it can bind through N also. If it is binding through SCN, it is known as thiocyanato, and if it binds through N, it is known as isothiocyanato, right? It is cyanido, isocyanido, right? Now if we have NO2, it can, if it is binding through N, it is called as nitrito N, and if it binds through oxygen, it is called as nitrito O. So but at one time they can only form bond with the one donor atom, one time only one utilization of the donor atom. So these are the ambidentate ligands. They are the unidentate ligands, means they have they can at a time donate only one donor atom, but if it is from either C or N, they have two donor atoms, but at one time they can utilize only one donor atom. That is the definition of the ambidentate ligands. Clear? So in this video we had talked about the ligands in detail. What are these ligands? What are these types of the ligands? Right? Now in the next we'll talk about their types, their names. Okay? So now we talk about next topic is the coordination number. Ligands are complete. Now we talk about the coordination number. Coordination number means the total number of the coordinate bonds that the ligand form around the central metal ion. That is called as the coordination number. So the number of atoms, you can say the number of we'll discuss more appropriate, the number of coordinate bonds formed with central atom or ions by the ligands. So they are the number of the coordinate bonds that are formed with the central metal atom or the ions by the ligands. This is the coordination number. So that's very tricky. Suppose you have CO NH3 whole 6 3 positive. Here that means the number of the ligand, they are 6, so it's very easy because the coordination number is 6. Just by seeing the ligands you can predict the coordination number to be 6, right? This means this cobalt is surrounded by 6 NH3 molecules. 6 NH3 molecules, so a total of 1 2 3 4 5 6 6 coordinate bonds are formed. So when there is a case, listen very carefully, when there is a case of the unidentate ligands, so the number of unidentate ligands that are attached to the metal atom or the ion, that corresponds to the coordination number. But there is a problem with the polydentate ligands. Suppose if you have En3, right, here the ligands seem to be 3 but the coordination number is 6 actually. So this you have to pay attention. Why? See, here this also and this. Each ligand contributes 2 coordinate bond. So that means 3 into 2 will be 6 coordination numbers. So see how they are formed. So how they are formed? See, there are total 3 En molecules. Each En contributes 2 donor atoms. So a total of 6 coordination sphere, 6 coordinate bonds are formed in the coordination sphere. So you should know that if there is unidentate ligand, then the number of the ligands is equal to the coordination number. But if it is a bidentate ligand, then you have to see how many. If it's a polydentate ligand, then it has to be seen how many donor atoms that particular ligand is contributing. So it seems 3, but actually there are 6 coordinate bonds and the coordination number is 6. So this is what a how a coordination number is calculated. Suppose we have this. So what will be the coordination number? See, this En, it is a bidentate ligand. So it had 2 into 2, 4, and this is a unidentate ligand, that is 6. So the coordination number will be 6. So you have to see. So there is another example. Suppose we have NiCO4. So here CO is a unidentate ligand. So the point is that you should know what ligands are unidentate, what are bidentate. So we'll discuss in the form of a table, in the tabular form. But in this case, the coordination number is 4. So what is the coordination number? In the coordination sphere, the number of the coordinate bonds formed around the metal ion or with the metal ion, that is called as the coordination number, right? In continuation with the coordination number, we have an oxidation number. For that we discuss, okay, before that we discuss about the homoleptic and heteroleptic complexes, because homoleptic terms, let's complete the terms first. Homoleptic and heteroleptic complexes. Homoleptic complexes means they have same types of ligands around the central metal atom. That means homogeneous. So the complexes, so if I talk about homoleptic, they have here the metal atom or ion linked to only one type of ligands. Only one type of ligands. For example, AgCN whole twice, NiCO4, CONH3 whole 6. So here it is bound, the central metal ion is bound to same type of ligand. So this is the homoleptic complexes. If we talk about the heteroleptic complexes, in which the metal atom or the ion is linked to more than one kind of ligand. More than one kind of ligand. For example, COEN whole twice this. So there are two types of ligands, En and Cl. See, here the metal atom was bound to only one type of ligands, not one ligand, one type of ligands. Here there are more than one kind of ligand. So here CO is surrounded by En also and Cl also. The another example is, suppose we have oxalate ion also and Cl2 ion also, right? So this is how heteroleptic and homolactic complexes are distinguished, right? So in the next segment we will talk about the oxidation number, the naming of the ligands. So there we will discuss more about the coordination sphere. I hope the terms which are used in the coordination chemistry, they are clear to you. Do it again and again and try to note down also.